kayo na
Eric, tawagan mo siya, pero sinasabi ko, Sentro Balita, papasok ko Malacanang. Good afternoon, Malacanang Press Corps and guests. Welcome sa press briefing ni Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque. Good afternoon, sir.
good afternoon to all of you. We have two very important guests today. The first is Secretary of Justice Vitaliano N. Aguirre II, and we also have Undersecretary Joel M.C. Egco of the Presidential Task Force on Media Security. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I was requested by Secretary Harry Roque to be here this afternoon. I was informed of a possible appearance here yesterday while your secretary and the president were in Baguio, so I have to go back early this morning. But I first attended the convention between PDP and the Communist Party of China. So I was told that you were interested, or you are going to have some questions with respect to the case of the dismissal by the RTC Valenzuela by Judge Nena Santos of Valenzuela, of the 6.4 billion information for the importation of shabu. So I'm now ready to...
MPC questions about the 6.4 billion shabu? Question. Question, Tina. Tina Mendez, Philippine Star.
So, sir, hello. Good afternoon, sir. So, sir, with the dismissal sa local court, anong magiging impact ng campaign ng gobyerno on illegal drugs?
Well, because of the dismissal, then it is as if there is no information yet filed against the respondents, specifically against Mr. Taguba, Kenneth Dong, Richard Cheng. And as a matter of fact, we have received information, in fact, reliable information that one of these prosecutors were trying to get out of the country. But he was timely prevented by the issuance of our ILBO, or the Immigration Lookout Bulletin Order. So, since there is yet no warrant of arrest issued against any of the respondents, then that could be the reason why some of the respondents wanted to leave the country. But we know also that with the dismissal of the case, the National Prosecution Service, the DOJ, filed a timely motion for reconsideration. And it was specifically originally set on January 5, but since apparently there was no notice to the DOJ panel, the hearing was reset to January 8, and it was continued. And on January 8, the incident, meaning to say the motion for reconsideration, was considered submitted for resolution after the respondents were given a 5-day period within which to comment. The 5-day period would end this coming Saturday, so by Monday, January 15, the court could issue its ruling on whether to reconsider or to affirm its dismissal order.
Follow-up question? Joseph Morong.
I'd like to pick up on your point, sir, that you meant respondents, not prosecutor, who was trying to leave the country. Prosec or
one of the respondents.
Respondents. Who is this, sir?
I was told that it was Richard Chen.
Kailan po siya nag-attempt?
Yung details niyan ay nasa with the Bureau of Immigration. And as a matter of fact, parang meron diyang other persons who was working for him so that he would be able to leave the country.
When did he attempt again, sir? Sorry. When did you find out at least that he was...
Last week.
Okay.
But the details of which are with the Bureau of Immigration.
When you said there's another person working for him, this is from the government trying to help him?
No.
BI,
well, a person who was formerly, as a matter of fact, still connected with the BI, but was now on AWOL, was trying to help him leave the country.
Sa NAIA, sa Manila or sa Clark, sir?
In one of the provincial, not here in Manila.
Mm-hmm. First, sir, he wasn't successful, right?
He was not successful because our senior supervision officer rejected the bribe being offered.
What do you think of this trying to get out of the country by Mr. Cheng, as far as motive go or involvement in the case is concerned?
Well, I didn't want to speculate, but I just wanted to lay the facts before you. That he has no impediment in leaving the country, but the only thing that is preventing him from leaving the country without any hitch is the elbow, which we have issued. And so we don't know if he still persisted in trying to leave the country through some other means or with the help of some people. So we even don't know if kung nandito pa siya.
Really?
And wala pa namang information from the Bureau of Immigration that he left the country already. Kaya the presumption is still he is here.
Kasi yung mga whole departure, sir, mga RTCN na lang, di ba? The list that you can issue is the watch list, tama?
ILBO, Immigration Lookout Bulletin
lookout
Order,
na lang.
just like the watch list.
Uh-huh.
So hindi natin alam na because parang twice na siyang nag-attempt to leave the country. Although after the case has been filed, so hindi natin alam kung he could leave the country through some other means. For example, if using some fake documents. Hindi natin alam yan.
Sir, the BI employee who is AWOL, you've identified this person?
Yes, we have identified it.
Any actions on him, sir? Or her?
Wala pa kami. Actually, pinahanap ko nga sa MBA.
Alright, cool. Thank you, sir.
Question? Follow-up? MPC?
Yes, ma'am.
Lenesca. Microphone. Yeah. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. What did you do differently dun sa motion for reconsideration
I've
as
reviewed.
compared with the previous? Because as it turned out, dismissed. So what did we do differently this time to make sure that they won't get away with the crime?
Well, I reviewed what happened because, as you have already known, the Office of the Secretary does not comment or make anything about this, what our National Prosecution Service downstairs are doing. And so we just read in the papers that the case has been dismissed because it was filed because of improper venue. In other words, we came to know from the papers that the judge's position is that the case was dismissed because it has no jurisdiction. Because venue is we know very well that venue is jurisdictional in criminal cases. So sinasabi ng RTC ng Valenzuela na ang may jurisdiction dito would be Manila. And so hindi kami dito sa Valenzuela. So it was dismissed. And the National Prosecution Service, our panel handling this, filed a timely motion for reconsideration. Yan ang incident na nakapending which could be resolved as early as Monday. So on the part of the National Prosecution Service, it argued that it is improper for the Valenzuela RTC to dismiss the same because it is not correct to say that it has no venue, it has no jurisdiction over this case because of improper venue. Sinasabi ng NPS that may jurisdiction kayo dyan because your dismissal order was premised on the fact that the importation, ang question dito is there importation? O where is, meron pa bang importation after it entered the Bureau of Customs? Sinasabi ng National Prosecution Service, mayroon pa. Kasi ang importation na sinasabi ninyo that is being considered by the court ay yung importation in view of the violation with the Customs and Tariff Code. So importation on. So sinasabi naman ng NPS hindi maaring ganun sapagkat hindi mo maaring i-import yan. Kasi only the non-contrabands, yung legal, in other words, yung hindi bawal na mga goods ang pwedeng i-import. You could not validly import, ang argument ng NPS, ng mga contrabands. So, wherever it is caught, as in this case, nahuli yan sa Valenzuela, mayroon pa ring importation. Yun ang argument ng National Prosecution Service. And besides, sabi niyang ganyan, importation, yung pagdala sa Valenzuela is just part of the importation. In other words, it is a continuing process. Kaya't pag ganyang continuing offense, kahit saan, in any place where one of the elements of the offense happened, pwede mong i-file dyan. Since dire-diretso ang process niyan, ang continuing offense niyan, since isa nangyari yan, nahuli yan sa Valenzuela, then Valenzuela court has jurisdiction. Yun ang argument ng pinaglalabanan ng respondents and the prosecution.
MPC
Thank you, sir.
questions? Other issue? Oh, Laila.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, could
Good afternoon.
you give us an update on the government's petition to declare the NPA as a terrorist organization?
The government's expectation to
Declare the NPA as a terrorist.
yeah, I just talked to the prosecutor Peter Ong, and hopefully in the coming week it will be filed, because meron palang last minute consultation with the Office of the Executive Secretary as well as with the other intelligence services of the government.
Sir, what are our expectations about the petition? Do we expect this to be parang like summary proceedings, or do we expect a long trial?
It is a
Because
full-blown trial, I believe. Kasi that's why medyo hindi mo madali, hindi pwedeng madaliin. They have to gather all the instances where terroristic activities could be attributed to the NPAs.
do you expect the NPA, the CPP, to put up a fight?
I believe so. Kasi ayaw nga nilang makuan sila eh. Masabihin silang they are engaged in terrorism. As a matter of fact, they have been named already by the U.S., but as an organization engaged in terroristic activities, but in other parts of the world, such as the European countries, na meron siyang asylum doon. Hindi. Even here in the Philippines, hindi pa silang de-declare.
Sir, how about the re-arrest of the consultants released for the peace talks? Ano
Well,
na po yung
the same has been the warrant. The warrant for the arrest of these consultants have not been lifted, although there are moves to resume the peace process. Wala yun. Parang sa dyaryo lang yun. But still, if these consultants who have been released because of this peace process, at their bail has already been cancelled, if cited, they will be arrested.
Sorry. Sir, na-cancel na yung arrest warrant nila? Is that what
Hindi
you're
lahat eh. I'm not sure kung lahat ng courts nag-cancel na. But there are motion to cancel.
saying? Motions to
Okay. Follow-up question? Celerina Monte.
Good afternoon, sir. So, do you know where these high-ranking NPA officials are, like the couple Tiamsons? Nandito ba sila or nasa abroad?
Alam ko nandito na eh. They are here already.
Okay. Question? Follow-up? Joseph
Sa
Morong.
status ng couple, yung mga motion for the cancellation of their temporary liberty have been filed yet? Or
Yeah, mayroon nang na-file.
na-file na po, sir? Would you know?
Hindi lang naman isang court ang nakapending ito eh. There are several courts, but tulad ng sabi ko, ang nakakaalam niyan yung aming National Prosecution Service. So, I'm not updated of that as of this week.
Pero sir, yung pong pag-file dun sa, with respect to just the Tramson couple, that has been done right after the President declared the NPA as terrorist organization?
That has been done, meaning to say
Yung sequence lang, sir.
the motion to cancel?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it was filed.
With
With
respect,
respect to the
two, no?
couple.
Yes, sir. And no action yet. I mean,
Hindi ko alam kung
trial din
ano
yan,
ang pinaka-latest development or status of these cases. But definitely many, almost all I think, has been, the cancellation bail has been filed. Because yung lahat ng bail na yan was presupposes that the OPAP or the peace process is ongoing. But since no longer, the President has declared that it's no longer being pursued. And so our National Prosecution Service has filed the appropriate motion to cancel the bail of these respondents.
and if they should be arrested, it should be upon court order, correct?
Yes, kasi ganun yan. Once na nag-file sa court yan, Pag kinancel ng court yung bail pursuant to the motion of the prosecution, then the necessary consequence that the court will issue an order of arrest.
Alright. So hindi sir parang citizen na pag nakita nila, they could just arrest these people.
Pag alam mo ninyong mayroong order of arrest, you could
Pwede.
implement a citizen's arrest
Once the order is issued.
once the order is issued.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Joseph. Last question for Secretary Aguirre. Dexter Ganibe. Last three. Last three. Tina and then Rosalie.
Sir, any follow-up po dun sa reports that the ACA, dun sa kaso ni Palawan Governor or dun sa kay Reyes na involvement ng CA Justice daw is retiring early, may insinuation na
Actually, I wanted to be prepared on that, but I asked my prosecutors to give me a briefer. Pero alam mo yan, once a criminal case is on appeal, like this Ortega case, nasa hands of the office of the Solicitor General, soldier na yan. Kaya't yung comment na lang ni Secretary or Soljan Joe Calida, sinasabi niyang the decisions stinks. So yun na lang. Well, as to the basis, hindi ko po alam yun. Kaya hindi kami makakuha kanina ng, we are trying to get the dismissal or the resolution expressing that there was no probable cause for the arrest of
Sir,
the respondents.
Just a clarification, sir, you agree with the Solgen that the decision stinks?
Well, hindi ko pa nga nababasa eh. Sorry, but I'm sorry I could not comment further.
Sir, any update on the case of Miss Mary Jane Veloso?
Meron yung Veloso, wala pa akong update. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Tina. Dexter Ganibe and Rosalie Cos. Last question for Secretary Aguirre.
As a clarification lang, nabanggit nyo kanina yung supervisor ba or manager ng immigration doon sa airport sa probinsya, ni-reject niya yung bribe ni Richard Cheng. May isinang pa bang kaso, sir? Ang BI o ng DOJ?
May sinabang kaso?
Kung about doon sa bribery attempt?
Actually, pinahanap ko nga yung the one supposed to who introduced himself as that person. Kung totoo yung sinabi nung BI na yun, who is an BI employee who is on a wall, na nag-o-offer ng 10 million bribe, dun sa ni-reject lang nung nung ating supervising immigration officer. So kung totoo yun, then at the very least, an attempted case of corruption public officers being committed.
Sir, clarification lang, nabanggit nyo yung executive judge ng Valenzuela, si Judge Nena Santos. The same person ba siya yung abogado nung sa Esperat case?
Sapano?
Opo, sa Mama Sapano.
Ng Ampatuan? Hindi ko alam eh.
Kapangalan lang, sir, kapangalan.
Kala ko eh. Yun nga nasa isip kanina eh.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Thank you, Dexter.
according to Secretary Roque, hindi raw parehas.
Thank you.
Okay,
So,
last
kapangalan.
question for Secretary Aguirre. Rosalie Cos.
Good afternoon po, Secretary.
Good afternoon.
Apo, ano po yung particular na reason ni Pangulong Duterte kung bakit nais niyang paimbestigahan muli sa DOJ yun pong kaso na umiiral na pagbebenta nun pong PNP firearms sa NPA?
Opo. Yan po kasi dumaan sa discussion ng cabinet. Yung mga baril na yan, yung mga hindi pagbibigay sa atin ng baril ng US, gawa nung mayroong mga senators na nagbablock. So, tapos yung mga offer ng China and other countries to give us, to sell us these long firearms. Then, dumaan ng discussion about this 1004 AK-47. So, diyan sa nagalit siya. So, imbestigan mo nga niya, Vit, ito. Kung mayroon pa tayong may demanda dito. So, immediately after the cabinet meeting, I asked General Anyo, who is now the OIC DILG Secretary, sinabi niya sa akin, mayroon na niya secretary na file dyan sa Ombudsman. But, ang alam ko, puro mga police officers lamang. Since wala kaming jurisdiction, doon sa aming pag-imbestiga sa mga civilian or non-military officers or non-government officers, so yun ang tinitingnan ko. Are there other persons liable na non-government officials who should be included in the charge? Yan po ang ibibigay sa akin ni General Anyo, lahat ng mga records nila doon. And then I'm going to send this to the NBI for further investigation. Kung meron ngang hindi pa malaman natin kung meron ngang hindi pa na-file ng kaso tungkol dito sa kwento. Kasi parang galit na galit siya kasi yan ang parang ginagamit ng NPA sa pagpatay sa mga sundalo eh. Napakagandang baril niyan eh, AK-47. So, thank you very much.
Okay, sorry. Last two na lang daw po. Sorry, final na to, ha? Yes. Raymond Tinasa and then Dexter.
Sir,
O,
just
sa
on the Ortega murders case. Sir, in your legal opinion, can the CA actually overrule or disregard an existing Supreme Court ruling? And does CA has the jurisdiction to determine the probable cause of a case?
You're referring to the...
Ex-Palawan Governor Reyes case.
Could you go to the specific? What particular aspect of the decision that you are referring
I think
to?
there's a ruling of the Supreme Court to allow RTC to conduct its own determination of the probable cause, where in fact the RTC already denied the bail or application of bail of Governor Reyes.
Kasi kung tama yung aking pagkakaintindi, the findings of probable cause was questioned by the respondents, the Reyes brothers, ano? Among them, the Reyes brothers. Tapos pumunta ito sa Court of Appeals. And it was reviewed by a 5-man division. Meaning to say, na originally, hindi magkasundo yung 3-man division. Kaya nagdagdag dyan ng 2 additional. Kaya special division of 5 yan. And dun sa 5, 3 nagsabi na no probable cause, 2 nagsabi na malakas ang ebidensya. So, hindi ko malaman kung meron ngang violation dito ng Supreme Court. If this case has already gone to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has said that there was probable cause, hindi na maaaring baliktarin ng Court of Appeals. But apparently, hindi po naman nangyayari yun. Kaya, prescinding from other issues, the Court of Appeals still has the power to rule that on the existence or non-existence of probable cause.
But what could be the regular? I mean, just to educate us, perhaps, who has the sole jurisdiction to determine the probable cause? I mean, I understand that there is no conviction yet or any acquittal or ruling from the lower court.
Well, it is the court actually. Kasi ang court ang nag-i-issue ng warrant of arrest. Without the findings of probable cause, the court will not issue the warrant of arrest. Apparently, the lower court in this case found probable cause and thus issued the warrant of arrest. This was questioned by the Reyes brothers and other respondents who went up to the Court of Appeals. And the Court of Appeals apparently reversed the findings of the RTC.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Secretary Aguirre. Now,
Thank you. Thank
can
you.
we have Undersecretary Joel Agco?
Ito yung Ortega. Boss. Thank you. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Today I'd like to clarify some issues with regard to allegations that Secretary Harry Roque had conflict of interest when he assailed the CA ruling on the Ortega murder case. Sorry? He went ahead na. All right. So I'd like to begin. Secretary Harry Roque is the spokesperson of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, who issued Administrative Order Number 1 on October 11, 2016, for the purpose of protecting the life, liberty, and security of media workers. When Secretary Roque commented on the CA ruling on the murder case against former Palawan Governor Joel Reyes, he did so within the purview of AO1 as the alter ego of the President of the Philippines, who has vowed in his first SONA that, and I quote, "This government does not condone violence and repression of media workers," close quote. The 14th whereas clause of AO1 expressly provides that, open quote, "unsolved cases of grave violation of the right to life, liberty, and security of person are revisited, investigated, and prosecuted until final determination and penal conclusion," close quote. Further, AO1 mandates the creation of the Presidential Task Force on Media Security for the purpose of monitoring all cases of media killings and mobilizing all member agencies in order to attain justice for the family of slain journalists and media workers. The Office of the Solicitor General is one of the member agencies of PT FOMS. The OSG is the government's lawyer, and its chief, Solicitor General Jose Calida, has criticized the CA decision dismissing the murder case of former Palawan Governor Reyes, saying that, and I quote, "the decision of the CA stinks," close quote, and that he will conduct an investigation to, open quote, "find out where the stench came from," close quote. We share the same sentiments. The PT FOMS, having been created under AO1 for the protection of the life, liberty, and security of media workers, will do all within its powers under the said admin order and will perform all legal and appropriate actions and ask our media partners like the NUJP, NPC, KBP, CMFR, PAPI, and the Philippine Press Institute for support in order to find out where the stench really came from with regard to the CA's order to release former Governor Reyes to the detriment of a slain journalist whom we are bound by law to protect and serve until justice is achieved. This unwelcome development is a nightmare from where we all should wake up. It sets a bad precedent to cases of similar nature. It sends a chilling effect not only to the families of victims, but even to us, to those at the front line against the problem of media killings. Samahan po ninyo kami sa laban na ito.
Thank you, Yusek Eco. May question kay Yusek Eco? No more? Raymond Tinasa.
Can your office can do something? I mean, to appeal or to file case to, for example, to the CA judge or justice, whom you believe his decision stinks?
Okay, yun din yung question mo kanina. Well, to answer that, Raymond, actually we had a meeting a few days ago, and we discussed that with the PT FOMS lawyers, the lawyer of the family, and the members of the family themselves. No, you were pointing about the SC previous SC decision upholding the authority of the local court. So yun yung nakita namin. Meron nga the SC has previously upheld the right of the jurisdiction of the lower court, no, in determining probable cause. So ito yung nakikita namin na possible. I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but maybe the CA justices, maybe they're courting an administrative case, no? But well, it depends on the interested parties in this particular case, specifically the family. Kung gusto nila mag-pursue, may interest sila sa kaso, they may do so. But we are of that belief, no? Na of course Supreme Court yan, So yun yung sinasabi natin. That's why we share the sentiments of the OSG. And the OSG is a member of the task force, no? And we give our full trust and confidence to the Office of the Solicitor General to effectively seek a reversal of this nightmare, of this, according to Secretary Roque nga, the past few days, which is a travesty of justice. Natatakot ako dito, ako personally. We are at the front line of the fight against media worker killings. Napakahirap maghanap ng witness. Ang hirap mag-file ng kaso. Ang hirap magpahuli ng suspect. Ang hirap mag-monitor ng kaso sa korte. Ang daming kung ano-ano. And then, sa isang iglap, biglang mawawala. What about the other more than 100 cases that we're handling? So, that's my, kumbaga, primal fear. Ito yun eh. And again, I'm getting very sentimental about this because 2 weeks ago, and I told Secretary Roque about this, meron tayong isang kaso na hawak na media worker killing, the person of interest was dismissed, order dismissed by the ombudsman. The MR was, I think, rejected. And 2 weeks ago, before I think after Christmas, he was able to get an injunction from the Court of Appeals. So, well, I don't know. I'm not here to speculate or badmouth the Court of Appeals justices, but I'm not happy about it personally.
Okay, thank you, Raymond. Thank you, Undersecretary Joel Eco. Can we now have Presidential Spokesperson question? Alvin Baltasar. For Yusek Eco. Microphone, please. Rose?
Yusek Eco, magandang hapon po. Pwede rin siguro sumagot si Spokes Roque kung after kay Yusek Eco. Sir, ano pong reaction natin doon sa parang timing nung allegedly pasya ni Justice Pizarro na mag-retire o mag-avail ng early retirement after the controversial decision tungkol kay Reyes?
I have friends also in the Court of Appeals and I've been asking around the past few days kung ano talaga nangyari. I told some people to naman tayo as a former journalist, yun ang trabaho natin, tatanong-tanong tayo. Isa yung sa tinanong ko lang, is it true that that particular justice is retiring? Yeah, he opted for early retirement. Well, okay. That's all I can say. So, yun. And I think there is another view here that yung tatlo kasi, there were, out of the 5, 3 yung nag-approve, I think at least one, according to my source there, believes that may hirapan because may namatay na supposedly mag-corroborate doon sa witness. Pero sabi ko nga, teka, hindi ba dapat ano na yun? Mas maganda full-blown trial eh. Mas maganda ang korte na ang mag-determine yan. Well, I'm not a lawyer but yun ang in my experience as like you as a journalist, no? Puro ganun eh. So let the court determine, no? Probable cause or until guilt. But in any case, yun nga, yung sinay ko kanina, expressly provided under AO1 hanggang penal conclusion, talagang tututukan natin to. No? So that's why I'm going to reiterate that they were wrong in claiming that Secretary Roque had conflict of interest. Mula nung napatay si Doc Cherry 2011, I was director of the National Press Club, and we've been also calling for the immediate arrest and prosecution of the suspects in this case. And when I was president of the NPC, na-arresto siya. And we even issued a very strong statement welcoming the arrest. No? So as an conflict of interest doon, now that I'm part of government and I'm in charge of going after them, so with everything that Secretary Roque said and everything that I'm saying now, all fall within the purview of AO1. Trabaho lang naman namin to eh. And very explicit yung sinasabi, we run after them. So we provide legal assistance. We provide any assistance that we can provide to the family. We have been in close contact with Micaela Ortega and Mampati, no? Ever since, yun ang kausap natin eh. In fact, when this happened, I was already in communication with Mica Ortega as early as Saturday. Magkausap na kami and I told her, I assured her na pinag-uusapan namin to at pag-uusapan namin nila Secretary Roque at ng mga task force lawyers natin and members. And during our next meeting, we're going to discuss this. And I'd like also to announce that I have prepared a formal request for Solgen Kalida, no, to take charge, no, to do whatever what has to be done, no, to seek a reversal, hindi lang kailangan ma-reverse to because as I said, for me this is a nightmare. And kailangan pagtulong-tulungan natin to. Otherwise, tatakot ako na bumagsak yung ibang mga ganitong klase ng kaso. Hindi magandang example.
Okay, questions? No more? Thank you, Undersecretary Joel Eco.
Thank you,
Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque.
Wala yung aking mga briefing materials here. Nadala mo ata. Meron pang iba. Meron pang iba. Oo. Yung,
Mr.
let me
Eco.
go to two good news first. Okay. Wala yung good news. Let's go first to the good news. The World Bank's Global Economic Prospects January 2018 report. We welcome the latest forecast of the World Bank in its Global Economic Prospects January 2018 report, which cited the Philippines to be the fastest growing economy among ASEAN countries. With the implementation of the Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion Act, the Philippines will continue to be one of the top performing economies as this will boost infrastructure spending. The big rollout of major infrastructure projects would result in a substantial increase in our gross domestic product for 2018. The timely implementation of our infrastructure program will be critical in bringing down the cost of doing business and making our exporters more competitive. More good news. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas in the October 2017 foreign direct investments net inflows, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas reported in the October 2017 foreign direct investments that net inflows reached 2 billion compared to 670 million last October of 2016. Foreign direct investment net inflows for the first 10 months of 2017 grew from year on year by 20.5% to US 7.9 billion. Netherlands, Singapore, Kuwait, United States, and Germany were our top sources of foreign direct investments in October 2017. According to the BSP, a significant portion of equity capital placements were channeled to electricity, gas stream, air conditioning, supply activities. Meanwhile, other sectors that receive investment inflows were manufacturing, construction, real estate, wholesale, and retail trade. Now, questions?
Sir, in dollars yon yung 2 billion?
Dollars.
Okay, in dollars yon. Pia Reñada.
Sir, the Japanese Minister on Internal Affairs said that she expressed regret over the Comfort Woman statue erected in Rojas Boulevard. May we know how the President reacted to this?
I think we issued the press statement and we stand by the press statement.
So, sir, you're denying that the Minister
I'm
ever
not
said
denying,
those
I'm saying
words?
there's a press statement prepared by Malacanang and that's the press statement.
Sir, do you believe in that statement?
Which one?
Can you respond on the premise that she gave those remarks? Because my next
do not
question would
know.
then be how the remarks would impact on the relationship between Japan and the Philippines.
Well, as I said, there's a press statement issued. Not everything that goes on closed doors bilateral talks can be reported upon or commented upon.
But sir, Japanese media already reported on it because she herself admitted it during a press briefing or interview.
Let Japanese media report on it.
Sir, but is
Next question, please.
Will the Philippine government be doing anything about the statue at least, given how it has caused such controversy?
The statue is not erected by Malacanang. What are we supposed to do? No?
But sir, it was
So-
it has the seal of the NHCP, which is a government agency.
Then that should be addressed to the NHCP. It's
So, sir-
not something that the President will act on himself.
Okay.
So sir, hands off ang Malacanang in this issue.
We didn't erect the statue. So it's not a presidential project, so to speak.
So the government doesn't see this as a diplomatic issue.
I don't think it is really a diplomatic issue, no, because our ties with Japan remain very strong. We have every reason to be optimistic that bilateral relations with Japan will become even stronger.
Celerina Monte.
Good afternoon, sir. Ako yung nag-text sa inyo yesterday regarding that. During the forum this morning, Gabriela said they're challenging you, specifically you, since you're a former counsel for another Lolas, the Malaya Lolas, when you were still with the private sector. They're asking you, they're challenging you na, I want to quote them, naghihintay ang comfort women and advocates na gumawa siya, meaning you, na positibong remarks na mananatilang statue sa Rojas Boulevard. So, can we get your reaction on that?
I'm presidential spokesperson now. My past involvements have become irrelevant. The president did not erect that statue. It's up to the people who erected that statue to do anything they want with it.
Sir, there's this letter daw from the DFA asking the mayor or the local government of Manila to remove that statue since the DFA is a national government, part of the national government. Is that the policy?
I do not know about that letter, and if there is such a letter, to confirm it, please ask Mayor Estrada.
Okay, thank you. Last questions? Philip Tubesa, to be followed by Lanesca. Last three.
Sir, good afternoon. Reaction lang. The camp of Governor Joel Reyes is asking the Court of Appeals to cite you in contempt of court for allegedly lawyering for the camp of Jerry Ortega.
Well, I welcome that, so I can probably explain to the convicted felon. He is a convicted felon, remember? What the role of the executive is, the chief executive. The chief executive is the chief implementer of the law. Every crime is prosecuted by the executive in the name of the people of the Philippines. Of course, it is the duty of the obligation of the state to accord its citizens justice. I spoke in that capacity. I have no regrets, and even the president approved of my statements.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Lanesca?
Sir, sorry, I will go back with Japan, with the statue. Because the president said even before he won as president, he said that he will raise this issue with the Japanese if he wins. And he repeated that same statement 2 months after his election in August 2016. He said that he is willing to raise that issue when he goes to Japan as president. So, can we expect him to at least initiate compensation or any compensation or any deal with our comfort women, considering that there's an existing deal between the Japanese government and the South Korean comfort women?
I can only say again that diplomatic negotiations constitute an established exception to freedom of information because of the delicate nature of maintaining bilateral ties. I cannot confirm if the president will bring up the issue of the comfort women. What I can confirm wholeheartedly is that he values the very close bilateral relations that we have with Japan currently.
Okay, thank you. Last three. RJ, Philip, and then Joseph.
Sir, reaction po to Makabayan Bloc saying the president committed grave abuse of discretion for signing Train into law, which, according to them, was not properly ratified. Train.
Well, I don't think they are a court. Only the court can conclude that there was grave abuse of discretion. And of course, I have said it before that there's overwhelming presumption of regularity because of the enrolled bill doctrine that the train was signed by the Senate President and the Senate and the Speaker of the House before it was signed by the President into law. That's entitled to full respect from our courts.
They said, sir, it was not properly ratified due to the lack of quorum.
Well, I understand that they brought the suit already alleging this ground. Let the court decide.
Sir, on Velosa, is there any hope for her request from the President during, to help her so that she could testify against her recruiters?
I don't understand what exactly the President can do in this regard. She's detained in foreign soil because of breach of Indonesian penal laws. She continues to be alive despite being meted the death penalty. But there is such a thing as sovereignty, And the matter is completely in the hands of the Indonesian government. Although I think the Indonesian government, by not carrying out the punishment of death penalty, has shown clemency on a daily basis.
All right, sir. Sir, can I ask one more?
Yes, please.
Yesterday, former Senator Bongbong Marcos said he will not stop pursuing his electoral protest even if the president would endorse him as a candidate for the next. Is there a possibility for the president to possibly to endorse him for the next senatorial election?
I'm not aware, and as you yourself said, a decision has been made by Mr. Marcos that he will not give up his election protest.
Okay.
Okay, Philip?
Hi, sir. Confirm na po ba yung trip ni Presidente sa India at the end of the month?
I do not, well, it looks like, but you know, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it looks like it's going to push through because it's a gathering of heads of states of ASEAN, no, in a summit with India, no. So I don't see why it will not push through, except if for some reason he decides not to push through with it.
Ano po maging agenda ng Presidente?
It's an ASEAN summit, so the agenda is set by the Secretariat of ASEAN.
There have been criticisms before about yung size ng delegations niya pag nagtitravel siya abroad. Will he have a leaner delegation this time around?
Number one, I'm not sure about the criticism. Number two, I'm not sure if it's really not lean enough, no? Because I've been on some of the trips. It's rather lean if you compare it, say, with the presidential trips of President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, no? I went to some of these trips as a congressman, and there were only one or two members of Congress accompanying him. And I heard anecdotally that in past administrations, there were more members of Congress that were allowed to go on these state visits. That's what I heard.
Will there be fewer trips this year?
Well, as I said, the president is not keen on making foreign trips. No, he's not even keen on flying to Manila. No, that's the truth. No, so I don't think it will be a problem. I think he will lead by way of example to others to minimize foreign trips.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Joseph Morong.
Sir, yung sa teachers' pay, what's really the status? Teachers' pay.
Yes.
Sweldo ng mga teachers. Ano ba talaga, sir? Meron, wala?
Well, it's
Naasahan?
very clear. Even the transcript of what I said here is clear because I was based on the transcript of the cabinet meeting. He asked his cabinet members to find ways to increase the salary of teachers. I did say I did not know by how much. I speculated. It is true that my speculation could be wrong, but I did not unequivocally state how much the increase will be. I am unequivocally stating that the President ordered everyone to study how to increase the salaries of teachers.
Sir, yun pong sinabi ni Secretary Joque, no, na, well, I think yung context na yung 500 billion, kung double, no, hindi kaya. What does the palace think about it?
He
Kung
knows
hindi kaya.
best. He knows best. But as I said, it was not as if the President said, let's double, like what he said on the salaries of the AFP and the police. But what you need to note is that the President says he wants to increase the salary of teachers. He does not go back on his promises. He will increase the salary of teachers by as much as we can.
Alright. So, sir, the intention is there, no? Pero,
The intention is there. It will not be taken back.
so, sa GAA, sir, wala yan, di ba?
Wala
I mean,
pa.
Correct.
Because
So,
we're talking
probably
about the
next
future.
budget na yan.
We don't even know when. But he has asked them to look for ways and means to increase the salaries of teachers.
So, they can expect, if some teachers...
Of course, in the same way that it took time for his election promise to double the salary of policemen and military, it will take some time, but it will happen during his administration.
And of course, between Secretary Joque and the President will prevail, of course.
Well, of course, there's only one
Kakamata lang ng ulo
chief
sex.
executive.
Alright, sir. Other issues. Tapusin nga
Okay.
lang tong checklist
Okay,
ko.
Joseph.
Sir, kay Ma'am Licuanan, ano yung status niya?
Well, as I said, we publicly heard Congressman Nograles complain about the trips. I said it helps if a formal complaint is filed because in all instances where the President acted, there was a formal complaint. I do not know if there is a formal complaint against Chairperson Licuanan. But I'm sure the President, because he reads the papers himself, knows about the trips.
So, sir, if there's going to be any action from the president, it should be prompted by a formal complaint.
It's just that the track record is where there was a complaint filed, there was an investigation, and there was a decision.
So, kung may mangyari man kay Director Chairman Licuanan, dapat meron mo nang magko-complain. Otherwise, if it's just news reports or allegations from several congressmen, that will not be sufficient enough for the president to do any action on.
I will not speculate now on what the president will do. I am just highlighting his track record.
Okay.
Official complaint, investigation, action.
Sir, yung kay Yusek Dino, nire-require niyo yung mga barangay captains to come up with a lista ng mga alleged or those who are involved in drugs. As a lawyer and as a presidential spokesperson, do you see anything wrong with that coming up with that kind of list?
None so far, because he just wants to get information on the basis of which the DILG should conduct an investigation. Now, there are two possible cases that could be filed, administrative for removal or criminal. So depending on the amount of evidence uncovered, either an administrative case for removal of a local government official could be filed, resulting in severance from duty of that public officer, or if there's more than enough evidence to establish even probable cause for a criminal case, then a criminal case should be filed.
No, but the process of drawing up the list, hindi ba siya, sir, medyo iffy? Kasi baka mamaya, since they're required, they just put any other name there.
There's, as I said, it's just a request to come up with names so that they could conduct investigations.
Okay,
It
thank you.
always begins with an investigation.
Thank you, Joseph. Okay.
Sir, yung
last.
third telco, Korean ba to, sir? May pangalan ba to, sir?
It's not Korean. Why are you saying Korean?
Well, Martin said so.
I don't know. But I can only repeat that the president offered to the
not third.
Chinese
Mga fourth pala,
premier-
China yung third eh. Yung fourth layer.
I don't know. I haven't heard about the fourth. I only know about the third.
Pasabi niya, yung PTNT has already like a
I do
partner
not
in
know.
PTNT.
Maybe you should ask that of Secretary Martin, but I know only of a third.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Malacanang press. Last, Philip. Last na talaga.
Sir, follow-up lang dun sa barangays. Kasi the President mentioned before na 40% ng barangay officials involved sa droga. And right now, Yusek Dino is going to ask them to come up with a list. Di ba medyo problematic yan?
You know, I see no problem because all he wants is names to investigate. What's wrong with that? Because people should know, by way of general reputation, who are involved in drugs. I think communities know, no? But it's not enough for anything. You have to investigate on the basis of these leads.
Pero I mean, drug-linked officials coming up with a list. Kasi sabi ng Presidente, 40% ng barangay officials.
That didn't come from Secretary Dino. He was not yet in the ILG, no? At that time, no? So perhaps that's another lead that Yusek Dino should pursue, no? The already existing data bank that we have. But the question is there anything wrong with asking for a list? There's absolutely nothing wrong for as long as it will entail conduct of an investigation to verify the information.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson
Thank
Harry
you.
Roque. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and People's Television.
Davao kasi kami, di ba? Side lang.